You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Welcome to another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian,
and
Keith Cheatham.
Oh, hello, guys. How are y'all doing this week?
Doing
Adequate.
good.
You're good?
Adequate.
Keith, you just had a major life change.
Adequate.
Could you explain what that major life change is?
Adequate pipe.
That's it?
Adequate pipe.
Adequate pipe?
It's from Rockadoodle.
What the heck is that?
It's
I don't.
supposed to say aqueduct, but he thinks it says adequate.
Adequate
So,
pipe
yeah.
from what?
Rockadoodle. Don Bluth film.
I'm sorry, I'm
You ever seen
blanking.
Rockadoodle?
No, I
Rockadoodle, the
Wait,
cartoon.
yes, I have.
Yeah,
Yes, I have.
singing
Yeah,
movies.
yeah,
Used to watch
yeah.
it at
Okay.
daycare all the time.
I
Yeah.
used to watch the movie all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the
So,
time.
but Keith, why don't you explain a little bit? You had some fantastic news. We
No,
like
I
to
didn't.
start off every week.
Had no news.
Yes, you did. We like to start off every week with a little icebreaker, and you had some fantastic
I like little
news.
icebreakers, but Tic Tacs are good too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Fine, Sean. What about you? You had an interesting week too.
Well, hell, if Keith's not going to talk about his, I guess you're
Not
forcing
sharing
me
nobody.
Yeah. Well, something's got to be forced with you.
to. Yeah.
Whoa! Whoa!
So who's going?
Who's going first?
Going?
Somebody's
Well,
gotta
you're
go
not.
first.
No, the problem is I am now.
Now you are. I am going to
working
be
out
in a new job soon.
Yes.
Yes.
but that's about all I will say.
Full
on
time
that.
here at Red Moon Productions,
Oh,
man. We're not
yes.
paying you a dime,
All right.
but
That's
we're
right.
glad to have
Official writer.
But that is about all I will say on that.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's currently still employed at
Yeah.
one place, so he still can.
Ah, that's
I'm,
true.
I'm,
He
I'm
can't
gonna
say-
be nice.
But
for
let's
now.
just say it's. I mean, definitely, grass is always greener, and in this case, it's very much greener.
I wouldn't say that.
You
'cause-
wouldn't say that?
Well, usually the saying is the grass isn't always greener.
Oh, well, that's true.
So yeah, I don't. I'm
true.
hoping the
in
grass.
this case,
I'm hoping the grass is
in
greener.
this case, it
Took us to
is. Though,
school.
you know.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm excited. Get a little bit more rest.
We're excited for you.
yeah, we are.
Can,
That's true.
A little bit better health.
Yeah.
You know,
People watching the
Do a little bit more
show don't
writing.
really know
some people do.
some people do. Our closest friends know
And
the
allies.
stress and just torment that you've been through in your current job.
I mean,
It's
my
true.
current job is why I died so many times. On
That's
the
true.
podcast.
It is
That's
true.
right. Which we have not had a death yet here when we've been live.
That's right.
So we've been
Well,
fortunate.
Yeah.
Way
But,
to jinx us now, a-hole.
True.
Yeah.
Speaking of a-holes,
You might as
He's
well,
going
man.
all
You
in.
got
Okay,
to.
okay. Just real fast.
Yeah,
Just
real
fast.
quick,
I'll
real
talk
quick.
about my butthole for a minute and my mouth. So I've never been constipated. I'm 36 years old as of Monday, and like literally in my life, I don't remember ever being constipated. But about 2 weeks ago, something shut off inside my body, and for like 10 days, I didn't make a duty. And I was hurting because that's not normal.
No, it's
Normally
hard.
at 2 or 3 times a day
No, it's
for
not
me.
normal.
Like I have very frequent movements.
Yeah.
So something got shut off, and I tried lots of different things.
Different
Tried
solutions.
eating spicy stuff. Nope, that just stayed in there and hurt. I tried laxatives and stuff. No, nothing like that. But then I trusted Google.
the
And
giggles.
found that magnesium citrate, whatever. It's
a miracle drug.
It is basically just like a saline solution with magnesium, and it tastes like lemons or oranges or whatever flavor Walmart sells for 99 cents a bottle. And you drink the bottle and hold on for dear life. And that was 2 days ago that I drank this stuff, and I am still rushing to the restroom. Like it's like drinking Drano.
for
And,
your bowels.
For your bowels.
Yeah.
But it definitely
Drano
works.
for your butthole.
So for all the old people out there that are listening to this,
Well, they know.
all our parents and stuff,
They're
hopefully
down
you know
there
this by now.
crushing
Don't
prunes.
try to force castor oil. It tastes like dirt. Don't try to
Hey,
do
I've
that.
done castor oil. That works.
It tastes terrible, though.
It does taste terrible, but
Magnesium
it works.
citrate tastes like lemonade.
And
It
so-
doesn't taste that bad. It's
But
a little
see,
salty.
okay,
It's a little
but
salty.
see, I have the opposite problem whenever I go with like Fiber One bars because they taste like candy. You know, they taste
You
good.
eat way too many
So
of
you
them.
eat too many, and then it just
Then
hard
you're-
as a rock.
Yeah.
And then you gotta go, but it's like, I mean, it hurts
Eating
until you do.
Fiber bars, it shouldn't be hard.
Fiber's
Fiber's supposed
supposed
to
to-
loosen it.
No.
Not
Here's
too much,
No,
I
it's
guess.
not. What it's supposed to do is if you're having problems going because it's like because you're constipated, then it hardens everything up so that it's easier to pass. And then the problem is it gets clogged.
Well, that's yeah.
And you have the same problem if you eat too much. Yeah. Because then when
I
you're
don't know
finally
what I
ready to
ate
pass,
that caused the problem. But
so you don't have any clue.
I don't have a clue. I didn't eat.
You think
anything
it just really
outside of-
is your age?
well, here's what
Something
I
to
think
do with
it
your
was.
age.
About 2 or 3 days straight, I think I had Chick-fil-A.
Ooh.
And I
what?
had those nuggets, like chicken nuggets from Chick. I know I had it at least twice in 1 week, and that
Yeah.
was the week that this all started. So I'm thinking maybe the chicken nuggets just stopped me up.
But Chick-fil-A has all that. I mean, the oil they use is
I
fresh.
have no idea,
and
man.
it's
Like I'm telling you, I don't know
It's
what
still
it was.
fast food.
Yeah,
brand.
All
but
I
it's
know
like-
is I was hurting, and now I'm not hurting, but I'm squirting. It's just bad, but it works. So
Yes,
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
be.
the
I'm
solution
the
is
new
you're back to
marketing. I'm
normal.
the new marketing specialist
For
for magnesium citrate.
citrate. Well,
Equate brand.
we're glad.
Equate. Walmart
Which is
brand.
there a button on there that you can push for this? Is there? Because you have the magic
I
box
got the
this
button
week.
right now.
Is there something that'll work for this?
Oh, yeah, this will work.
You can't handle the truth.
I don't
Does it
know.
work?
There's nothing on here about pooing.
Well, no, but there's like even the little
This is
coin.
this is how I feel now.
That's
Right.
that's when it drops.
Right. That's
So,
good. Oh,
Okay.
That's that.
That's
There you go.
that.
Going down the
That's
pipe.
when it's like, yeah, it's being
Yeah,
flushed.
I just
Yeah.
did that like 30 seconds
I was
before
thinking
we
maybe
started
that-
going live.
That's true. I was a little worried
It
you
was
weren't going to make
fast.
it.
It was the fastest poo.
Yeah, well, and I was
a
kind of
record.
impressed. You got back in here.
It was a record.
It was less than a minute.
Yeah.
You
Oh
made
yeah, I
it
know
back.
it was.
It was less than
was
a
really
minute.
Okay, so
impressive,
enough about my
actually.
bowels. Let's
Yeah.
talk about some other shit.
Well, but let's. But I
Well,
wanted
we're-
to say real quick because Sean, he does have the magic box this week.
I got
because
it.
It was your birthday
There's an upgrade.
on Monday.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I wanted to give you the magic box. It's your
appreciate
turn this
that.
week. I think Keith he'll probably get it next
Brian
week.
had a
Well,
hat
how
for me
about
to
you
wear,
have
but
it
it
next
broke.
week?
It already broke, so
Your
I
hat
couldn't wear
broke?
it. He had a little sombrero thing for me to wear,
Yeah,
but it broke.
we were gonna put it on the microphone, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
Can't do nothing about
So
that.
Keith, what movie did you see this week?
Well, me and Sean both saw. Well, you know,
We did.
Speaking of crap, our good buddy Brad is going to be a little disappointed.
dang.
Like,
Well, speaking of crap, our good buddy Brad.
yeah, he's just this human pile of refuse. No, we went and saw Godzilla, King of the Monsters, which has it's. To be fair to it, I guess. I mean, it has made it big at the box office. I mean,
Not
it's
much.
but not
Not by
much.
much.
Yeah,
Not by much,
yeah.
but it did get that top spot. But you would think, like you said, not much, that it would have been bigger. Yeah, well, let's just listen to the review. Yeah.
That's it. We're just going with the review. The following is a review by Keith Cheatham. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and the box office. One of the most iconic figures to ever come out of Japan. Everyone around the world knows who Godzilla is. With 35 films depicting the character Godzilla, it's easily a fan favorite, though only a handful of those 35 films have any real substance. Many are camp and over the top, but seeing what a ridiculous way Godzilla will beat a new monster or humanity will overcome these same creatures is part of the fun. When Garrett Edwards created the second American adaptation of Godzilla in 2014, and it took an entirely different, new, and serious direction, while still paying homage to the classics, the results were amazing. Of course, with Godzilla 2014 being such a success and a wide array of creatures to showcase in films, Hollywood does what it always does. It decided to make a cash-grabbing sequel. And because shared universes are the new thing to do in Hollywood, the film brings us one step closer to the fabulous Kong vs. Godzilla film that's been in the works. Directed by Michael Dougherty, Godzilla King of the Monsters begins with Godzilla's fight against the Muto in San Francisco in 2014, Showing Dr. Mark and Emma Russell, portrayed by Kyle Chandler and Vera Farmiga respectively, the Russells work for the secret organization Monarch, researching giant monsters such as Godzilla. Sadly, they lose their son in the destruction caused by Godzilla and the Muto. Jumping forward to present day, Mark has gone into seclusion, and Emma is left raising their daughter, Madison, played by Millie Bobby Brown, alone. Madison has secretly been keeping in touch with her father, who still has not gotten over the loss of his son. When Emma makes a breakthrough, completing the Orca, a machine that uses the same frequencies provided by the giant monsters, Monarch now calls Titans. Emma is capable of communicating in a way with said monsters. All of this is a little convoluted, but still makes sense. It's not as neat and precise as Edwards' 2014 film, but still on solid ground. Everything from this point on is solid waste flushed down the commode. Emma, who believes humanity is destroying the Earth, soon teams up with an eco-terrorist named Alan Jonah, portrayed by Charles Dance, who uses the Orca to awaken multiple Titans, hoping to level the Earth and create an equal playing field for humanity to rebuild. After awakening King Ghidorah, an alpha similar to Godzilla, Emma realizes they cannot control what is about to happen, and the destruction to Earth will be too catastrophic for humanity to survive. Now, all hope once again lies in Godzilla to defeat Ghidorah. As Ken Watanabe said in the first film, "Let them fight." Honestly, if this was the movie we had gotten, packed full of amazing fights, I would have been satisfied. Godzilla films have a long tradition of being silly and ridiculous, and while Gareth Edwards' film was serious and grounded, I could forgive the sequels becoming a bit looser, as long as they maintain the same level of fun and excitement. Sadly, King of the Monsters drops the ball in almost every way. The acting and dialogue are piss poor, and the story is a convoluted mess. In the first, great care is taken to try and scientifically explain much of what is happening on film. However, in this film, pseudoscientific names for random MacGuffins are abound, with no explanation to how they may help any given situation. Some of this is obviously done as an homage to the classic films, but it creates a disparaging contrast to the previous film that is off-putting. Again, I'm fine with introducing some of the sillier elements of the originals, but this being a continuation of the 2014 Godzilla, I had hoped for them to take the silly ideas and breathe new plausible life into them. Knowing that everything else is busy, at least we are treated to an epic fight, right? Well, not so much. The fight scenes are okay, but even they seem lackluster compared to Edwards' film. Maybe it's because I stopped caring about the story and characters so early into the movie that by the time the fighting began, I no longer cared at all. But honestly, the fights, while cool in some scenes, didn't have any heart. And that's the best way to describe this film. No heart, little style, and zero substance. I give Godzilla King of the Monsters 2 out of 4 stars. Ooh, Sean.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Okay, yeah, it's filling up in here. So that was your review of Godzilla. That was Keith Cheatham's review, read by Brandon Davidson. You said Gareth Edwards' name. You said it wrong once. And got it right the second.
It was a miss.
That's okay.
It was a typo.
It was a typo.
It's all right.
I should have known better. but-
Brandon's like Ron
What happens.
Burgundy.
Yeah, he'll read whatever.
He's
is on
Ron
the prompter.
Burgundy. He's gonna read whatever's on there.
Hey, you know what? I read what you send me, okay?
Well, and hopefully that'll be the last time that we have to have you read.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this.
Yes.
See, this is
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
reasons.
Amen, brother.
Partly because of your job and the stress that it's brought.
Yeah, see, there we go.
From now on, I should be able to write and read my own reviews.
That's
Good.
right. Woo!
Good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So 2 out of 4 stars.
2 out of 4.
Why?
Why?
You just explained.
Well, here's the thing. It's not okay. I was definitely more entertained by this movie than Aladdin. So, because even though I say the fights weren't as good, I mean they were still fun. I guess after seeing that first Godzilla by Gareth Edwards,
Yes.
I expected them to like bring it to the next level because
Right.
it's a sequel. You're
Right.
expecting more, and yeah, there is more in the sense that there's more monsters and there's more going on. But when it came down to it, the fights were kind of pretty much the same, other than the very final fight when Godzilla kind of goes all out and he's not to spoil too much, but they. At one point in the film, they thought he had died, and they tried to basically resuscitate him with a nuclear bomb
explosion.
because that's what it's fuel. Well, that's
Oxygen
what
killer.
As I said in the first movie, because I mean the Muto and Godzilla were tracking the nuclear bombs in the first movie, anyways, because that's
Right.
basically what they were feeding off of. So their idea was, we set this off, and it'll basically jumpstart Godzilla, and they jumpstart him too much, so now he's just brimming with all this nuclear energy, and he's about to go kick King Ghidorah's ass.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because I'm like, okay, here we go. This is that final fight that's going to be epic. And there were cool moments, but it just didn't feel epic to me.
It fell a little short on the action part. I mean, the action was
It was
everywhere
fine.
but in the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
But I agree with the
And,
fight.
I'm used to I've seen a lot of Godzilla movies. I love Godzilla. I know most of them are silly, campy, they're out there, they're abstract. So I'm used to that. But like I said in my review, with this being a sequel to Gareth Edwards' 2014 film, I wasn't expecting them to just make this huge break where this film was. And the thing is, I don't think they were trying to be outlandish. Yeah, I think some things like the oxygen destroyer,
Oxygen killer or destroyer?
I think it was destroyer.
Was
That's like the name of the weapon in the original Godzilla movie that kills Godzilla. Like
Okay.
I understand that was an homage to the original.
Yeah.
But it was kind of silly, and everything like that was silly in the sense that in the first film, even though they had some wild ideas, they still tried to ground it. Like
no,
this is
I was
how,
going to say
this
the
is how this
first
happens.
film was very well grounded.
That they ground it,
and in
they
fact, honestly, I will say because that was the one thing that you mentioned it in the review.
Yeah.
But that was the one thing I loved about the 2014 Godzilla was it was the first time I'd seen Godzilla kind of taken seriously.
Yeah.
And a little bit of the camp, pretty much all of the camp, really removed from
Yeah.
the series. And I thought, well, this is, I know it may offend some, but I think most were well pleased with the fact that it was like, okay, finally we're having this being taken seriously.
Godzilla.
But
yeah.
at the same time, I also understand too where, I mean, from the marketing that I saw with this film from the outset, I mean, even just them showing the Godzilla Ghidorah fight in the trailers, it was like you could tell they were really marketing this for being a spectacle than anything to take seriously.
And I was okay with that.
True, but even some of the delivery of like the lines and certain things, and like even in the last trailer where he's like, oh my God, Zilla.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I already had like this idea of, I know what we're getting here. Like this is not going to be
that guy
the best thing
so
to take.
many stupid lines
does,
in
throughout
that
the whole
movie.
Doesn't surprise me.
I mean, it's terrible. It's like that's the guy from Billy Madison. Like, just think about that. He was in Billy Madison, and his lines in Billy Madison were better than what he had in this movie. Like I thought that guy just needed. He was the Jar Jar Binks of the movie. He did not need to be in there at all. I could have completely done without that character.
Most of the plot was there wasn't really, like I said, there wasn't anything of substance. Most of the plot was kind of over the top or silly. The villain's whole motivation was, humanity's ruining the earth, pollution, we're destroying everything, so we need to.
You can't handle the truth.
That's right. So basically, her thing was release these monsters.
Hold on, it's tempting, isn't it? You
It
got
is.
it. It's
It is.
tempting. You can't help it.
But her whole point was, release these monsters and basically start over. They're gonna level the playing field, and humanity can rebuild and quit destroying the earth. Then she realizes, well, crap, this is going to completely destroy the earth.
Well, her whole plan was to release the monsters gradually.
Yeah.
And this guy releases them all like at once.
Well, that's because.
But I'm just like, what's the difference?
Care. Yeah.
One of them's going to come out. They're all going to be there eventually. What is there, 17 of them in the movie they mentioned?
Yeah.
17 or
Gosh,
18
17?
monsters. It doesn't show all of them, but they say that there's
that's how many
17
they
of them.
released to destroy
And,
the earth.
yeah, and I'm just like, humanity's never going to come back from that.
Yeah.
If 17 of these things are roaming the planet, we're done.
Yeah.
Like there's no surviving.
And she realizes that she's just like, oh crap, like we can't recover from this. So this is not what I wanted. And it's like, and they try to give this whole redemption arc where she goes to save the day. And I mean, I don't want to spoil anything,
Sacrificial lamb.
but I'm like, I don't feel bad for this character at all. Like, no, there is no redemption for her.
Right.
She killed
She's
billions
Hitler.
of people.
Yeah, she's
I
like
mean, by
Hitler in the
releasing,
movie.
even though like her intentions were good, it's like that doesn't
Well,
matter.
but then she turns into Thanos. I
Yeah.
mean, that's exactly what
exactly.
Thanos was.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but
he
not
was
even
still a
as
villain.
likable as Thanos.
Yeah.
He was at least likable.
yeah.
I mean, he at least made a case for his point.
Oh yeah.
And it's like,
Her
so
point was just silly.
It was
I'm like, this is
it was
stupid.
ignorant. It was like the Green New Deal.
with monsters.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there were, like I told you, I appreciate it. It's funny because they used the monsters they used are for the bigger name. I mean, you don't get very much big other than King Kong. You don't get bigger than Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, and then of course they threw Rodan in there too. And I'm like, okay. But and that's what I told Sean. I was like, they threw all of like some of the biggest names in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so where do they go from here? And of course, the only place they can go is Godzilla versus King Kong, which is where they're going. But I'm just like, it's just bizarre because even with having all the monsters in there, they didn't really do them justice because it's just like, okay, here's another monster coming to help fight or whatever,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It was
Well,
just
really,
kind of all
the
over
Rodan
place.
was the only monster that I didn't like. I didn't like the monster once he emerged or she or whatever it was supposed to be, but I liked how it emerged. I liked the volcano.
Yeah,
I liked how when he flew, like one of the things that I thought was realistic about it was this huge beast flapping its wings. And when it does, like it literally lifts cars and people up off the ground.
Yeah, right.
Which is I thought that was kind of good attention to detail because a lot of the
Yes.
times you've got
Gotta pay
a
attention to
giant
that.
monster walking past you, knocking buildings down, but the ground beneath your feet isn't cracking or shaking or
Right.
anything. And I'm just like, that's stupid.
My
Like,
biggest problem with Rodan though was that all of its best action scenes were in the trailers.
true.
Like it's not a very big
Yeah.
like if the movie focuses more on Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, which I understand because those
Yeah.
are kind of the big three. But it's like you could have like if that was the case, then why showcase like the scene? Like it's coolest scene is it like twirling in the air and taking out these planes, but they show
Yeah.
that in the credits, and I'm like, why
Yeah.
did you do that? Like it's like why I hate when movies do that when they show you the good
The
stuff,
best parts,
and
yeah.
then you watch the movie and it's like, well,
Well, here's the
That's
thing
it.
too, because I told you all like just before the show started, I have not seen the film. I was
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing it with y'all, but unfortunately, for some reason, AMC doesn't like to have actual decent show times on opening weekend. I'm not sure why. That's weird. So yeah, fix that, AMC. But I thought it was interesting because as I was hearing you all talk about it and discuss it, and you all even told me point blank, you were like, "Be glad you stayed home." Like it was not a good movie.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, great, I can't wait to hear this review. Then I read it. Yeah, I thought, okay, they trashed it, but to give it 2 out of 4
Yeah.
stars is still worth. And obviously, I don't think it is at all as bad as Aladdin is from what I'm
it's
getting
not as
from
bad
you
as
all.
Aladdin.
Yeah.
But then I'm also hearing other people who've seen it, and they're like, well, they're fans of Godzilla. And there's enough
Yeah, I
here
mean-
that'll like kind of get you interested in the film, and not only be interested, but there's enough to like if you are a fan.
Yeah.
So my question is even with the 2 out of 4, is it still worth not only checking out?
I don't
but
think
is
it's
it
worth going
a
to
worthy
see in
installment?
theaters.
Well,
but
here, see, I'll disagree with you on that because I thought it was pretty spectacular seeing it on the IMAX
that's
screen.
true. I mean, the IMAX made
Anytime you've got Godzilla
Yeah.
on an IMAX screen, I think it's worth seeing.
true.
Now, with our situation and our AMC stubs, it's a little bit more worth it because we didn't really pay for that
Right,
physical
right.
$18 ticket. But if you have the opportunity to save that money in that kind of way, then yeah, I'd say go see it. But if you're going to drop $20 on a ticket to go see it, it's not that great of a film to see other than the spectacle. And like Keith said, the spectacle's really, other than the trailer, there's not a whole lot more additional in the film. So it doesn't really, I don't know.
You
I
almost-
wouldn't say don't go see it, but I'd say go see
I
it
will
with
say
low expectations.
The special effects are good. They're great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they look
It's
great.
a beautiful movie.
Taking like these classic monsters and updating them, like they
Yeah.
did like Godzilla. They still look like
Gareth.
like just like with Godzilla. It looks like the original, but it looks like something that would exist.
Yeah.
In real life too, like they do a good
Yes.
job of making
Rooting it in reality.
Yeah.
of making it look still like what you're familiar with, but giving it realistic traits. I mean,
Right.
I thought that was impressive.
Well,
I
one of
thought
the
all them.
when you talk about realistic traits, I know you're talking about in appearance. But one of the things that I don't really like about both of these movies, especially this one though, is the monsters have a character that I don't want them to have. Like they're animals.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be animals. They're supposed to move like animals and act like animals. And when an F-22 Raptor that's flying next to Rodan does a barrel roll and flips out of the way, and then the bird is like, "Oh, I can do that too," and it does a barrel roll and destroys all the planes, then you're giving the animal human characteristics and human thought process. It's like, "Oh yeah, well I'll show you." Well, dogs don't do that. Animals don't do that. I wanted them to be a little bit more mindless. Not completely mindless, because I know they're there to serve a purpose, but I don't want these animals there like that think like humans.
I was saying,
and
well, they
act
had
like,
too much of a higher intelligence.
that's what it feels
feels
like to
like?
me. Like
Yeah.
Godzilla does things when he's fighting and stuff that's not animal as much as it is karate. And I'm just like, now in the old movies, he used to like karate kick people.
Yeah.
Like, and
Well,
I'm
I
like,
say-
you know,
I
when you
was
got a
saying
guy in a
some of
rubber
the-
suit, yeah.
In some of the
but
classic films, he displayed a higher intelligence.
I know.
you know.
And I think that goes to like what our friend Brad was talking about earlier tonight. Is he said it fits with some of the older. Cheesier Godzilla movies. It does fit, and I think that's maybe where your fans are coming out and saying it's good. But
I also think that's part of the problem that we raised in the review was the fact that that's fine if that's the route you want to take. But this is a sequel.
Serious.
Well, this is a sequel to the 2014 film, which was rooted in much more serious reality.
Right, and
so
I felt like
if you're going that route, then almost that should be dismissed.
I agree. It doesn't match up the tonality of the 2014 film. And some of the acting is, we talked about it before, the acting is trying to be serious and dramatic with these lines that you just simply can't do dramatic.
And that was the problem. It's like if you're going to throw caution in the wind and say, okay, instead of going the serious route of the original, we're going to make this just a fun spectacle, then do that. But they don't go all in. It's like they try to still be serious while making it a spectacle, and it fails because you have bad dialogue and things that aren't really explained scientifically like the original did, and it's like they're trying to be serious. Like it was like, we just developed a new weapon that can take these things out. It's the oxygen destroyer.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that is not you cannot deliver that line seriously. I'm
Right.
sorry.
And
I know you're trying to pay homage.
You
but
have these multiple, what's it called, a Deus Ex?
Deus Ex Machina.
You have these multiple things in the movie that are just thrown in to lead to the next thing. It's just like, okay, well, how are we waking these up? We have a box. Okay, well, how does it do that? Well, we came up with a way to talk to them.
Right.
Okay, well, how do we waken this one up? Well, we use this box and change this frequency.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, how did you learn how to do that? When did you learn how to do that? Who figured this? You know, it's just like scientists have a box. It talks to monsters. It wakes them up and makes them mad or happy. So we're going to use it through the whole movie. And it was just a stupid, I thought it was just a really juvenile, like,
It was just a plot device.
It was, and I thought that was just kind of ignorant. I really wanted more. The first movie had science behind it.
Yes.
It had this nuclear reactor. The thing is feeding off of it. It goes dormant, and then it's awoken, and then because it exists, Godzilla has to exist to balance the nature out. Again, they're animals. They're part of nature.
Yeah.
So it's like if there's a bad one, it's like this. It's like Jedi and Sith. There's got to be a good,
There's gotta be
a light and a dark.
to-
And I'm just like, I love that. But then you've got 17 monsters. All of them are dark except for 2.
Well, they follow whatever the alpha is. That was the thing. It's like they tried, but they don't explain it very well because it's like Godzilla's supposed to be basically like the king. Like he's supposed to. They follow him, but then King Ghidorah comes around as like this rival alpha from space. not joking.
Yeah. No, he's an
and
alien.
he's unnatural. He's not supposed to be on Earth, but he's there. So now he's causing chaos because that's a competing alpha.
Because he's not
So
supposed to,
now
yeah.
you have this evil one, and the monsters are following him, and it's up to Godzilla to take him out to restore the balance. And I'm like, they could have explained it better, but they don't. Like, I get what they were
Which
going
is weird
for.
because, okay, as crazy and ridiculous as that sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But
It would
I
be,
mean, it does. It's
they
like
don't-
Implemented the right way. It
Right.
would
Yeah,
have been.
it would have been awesome, but like even like with all these monsters on the loose that they're supposed to be fighting for to follow, like, it only briefly shows them destroying cities. Like, okay, yeah, it shows like 3. There's 17 of them on the loose, but they only show 3 destroying 3 random cities.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the film, when Godzilla wins, I guess they were all in Boston because that's where the last film takes place.
Yeah.
It's like the
Boston doesn't exist anymore.
three monsters.
It won't.
And
yeah.
here's the thing: they're
There's
supposed
no
to be
way.
showcasing monsters all around the Earth, destroying the Earth. And the only 3 they showcase are these 3. And at the end of the film, when Godzilla wins, they all come up to him and bow. And I'm like, so are you saying these monsters, the only monsters
See,
you
and
showed,
that's-
were
right.
all in Boston? So you have plus because those 3, then you had Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra. So you're saying 7 gigantic
Right.
creatures were in Boston, destroying Boston.
Yeah.
That
It's
place is
gone.
gone.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
go-
like,
that
what?
entire part of the U.S.
it's
is gone.
gone.
Yeah.
It's sunk into the ocean. I mean, there's no way you could have that amount of
I'm
activity.
like, this is crazy.
Well, not only that, but it does, like, as soon as you mention it, like, they go up to Godzilla and they start bowing.
Yeah,
and I'm
see,
just like,
I didn't like that either.
yeah, that's kind of goofy.
Yeah, they
That's
bow.
kinda
Well,
hokey.
we didn't even mention the Atlantis thing. I mean,
I forgot they discovered
Yes.
the lost city of Atlantis.
Atlanteans
With all this
used
going
to worship
on, and they
Godzilla.
still have to-
That's why he's called Godzilla, because he was
What?
their god, and they worshipped him.
They don't ever mention that it's Atlantis, but they find this city
It's
under
like
the
a sunken
They
city.
find this sunken city under the water
Yeah.
that has all these hieroglyphics of Godzilla fighting
gold
monsters
and
I'm
temples.
Like,
they basically built a temple for Godzilla
To
to
worship-
reside in.
and
that's where he goes when,
To
when
recharge,
he's
yeah.
recharging. Yeah.
because
What?
it's next to
'Cause it's near
close-
the-
So wait,
it's near
is
the
that
Earth's
part of
core,
the
so-
mythos that they just added in this film is like that's how he recharges is through this city or something?
I don't know.
they because it's sunken as close to like the Earth's
Yeah,
core,
yeah.
like
The radiation.
the radiation
and-
from
yeah.
the core is what recharges them.
Yeah.
Which that makes sense. But the whole when they find this, and they never mention what it's called. They just find the sunken city. But I told Sean, it's like if they say they've just found the city of Atlantis, I'm done. And they never.
Yeah.
they
don't
never
mention it. They didn't
don't
go
ever
that far.
mention it. But I'm just like
They
it's
didn't go
like-
full retard.
I can't believe that. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's just so random.
No, like it literally, like Keith was setting, but like
Rick was between
Rick
us.
was between
yeah.
us. And I literally, as soon as they get to the city and start seeing the hieroglyphs, I just look over at Keith.
Yeah.
Because I'm wanting to see what he's what his reaction is. And he was just sitting there like this with his hands on his chest.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. And I'm
like, what
yeah,
is this?
I know what he's thinking though. It was bad. Like Aquaman shows the city of Atlantis, and it's great.
But that's part
like,
of his.
it's part
that's part of his
thing.
story.
But I'm just like, what is Godzilla and Atlantis have? They're stretching.
I was gonna say it seems like every time they
Here's the
had a
thing.
good idea, they just went too far.
Yeah.
To try to make it seem, but it's almost like they
you have giant nuclear created monsters.
Yeah.
Then you have a monster from outer space.
Yeah.
Then you have Atlantis. I'm like, they're just
how many
how many?
Yeah.
like mythological stories.
Right.
Yeah, are we going to tell
you gonna
one movie?
Yeah.
That's the thing is I feel like they really did try to push the bar.
Yeah.
But then it's like every time they got this outlandish idea, they were like, nah, let's tone that back. Let's not go too
another
far.
thing that they
but
keep
we'll keep
changing
it in
the
there.
names of the monsters. It's just like
Yeah, it was
Mutos,
Muto
Kaijus,
originally.
Titans. Like they keep, really just adding all this stuff in there, and it just
It's
it
like
was
they
just-
knew after the first movie, everybody made fun of the name Muto. Everybody made fun of that.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll just change it. And then it's like,
yeah. But then they used kaiju, which is from freaking
well,
Pacific
kaiju's
Rim.
actually that's an actual term for giant monsters in Japan.
Oh, okay. See,
But
I
I
don't speak
think
Japanese.
I think they were afraid to use kaiju
But it's
though
just
because
like,
they
how do
didn't
you-
want to be compared to specific. But I'm
Yeah.
like, at least kaiju would have been the actual term, the real life term to
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
But they ended up with Titans, and I'm like, that's fine. It's generic.
Well,
but
they were
it's
trying
fine.
to go back to the Greek mythology
Yeah.
of Titans,
Yeah.
and they're trying to say that these things
Again,
have
though,
always been
there's-
here.
There's
Yeah.
still a way to introduce these things into a film and make people believe the mythos that you're
Oh, yeah.
creating, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you have to do it in a believable way. And the moment that you don't, and it
Because
falls short,
they tried to say the behemoth and the leviathan from the Bible was these monsters too.
right?
They
Okay,
were-
I'm
they
just
were
like, yeah,
Titans.
Jesus was standing on Godzilla's head when he was really walking on water. Like he wasn't really walking
It's
on
like
water; he was just standing on.
Godzilla was there to help.
He was under
Yeah.
there to help.
Yeah.
I mean, just like how much crap
Well,
are you going to
just
tie into
know
the history of this
They
thing?
mentioned Skull Island like 4 or 5 times throughout the movie.
Of course,
Yeah.
so
'Cause
they're building.
Because they're building up.
building.
And then at the end, during the credits,
credits.
there's constant newsreels about because Monarch releases all their documents on all of the research they've done on these monsters. So at the end of the film, you get all these news clips, and one of them is all of the Titans, for some reason, are converging on Skull Island. They don't know why. They're just all going to Skull Island. So it's like,
what could it
so
be?
I'm like,
Because we
okay.
gotta
Oh,
have
no.
we got to have a sequel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Show
and
me
you
the
know,
What was that? What was that?
What?
Show me the money.
Oh
me
yeah.
the
Well, that's exactly what the studios want with this, and we know
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
what they're driving towards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we know that's coming. We already knew it was coming, but this is not a good lead-in.
We already
to
know
that.
the plot. There was an end-credit scene where the eco-terrorist, Godzilla severs one of King Ghidorah's heads, but it can grow its heads back. So the severed head from halfway in the movie, he buys, like he
On the black
finds it
market.
off the black market, and he buys a head. So it's like, okay, King Ghidorah's gonna come back. Godzilla and King Kong are gonna end up stop fighting to have to take him out.
Batman v
okay.
Superman.
Yep. It's like, all right, we already know
Yep.
the plot for the
Yep.
next movie.
Which, so 2 out of 4 stars for Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yep.
You all are saying pass unless you go see it in IMAX,
I mean,
and then it's
IMAX is
maybe
fun,
worth
and-
seeing for the spectacle
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
So
yeah.
it's
we're
so
done with that
true.
one.
All right, guys, are y'all ready to move on to
Yes,
our topic
please.
of the week? This is gonna get heavy.
You're
Just want to
heavy.
warn you.
Heavier
all.
than Godzilla.
Heavier than Godzilla. We've
He's
got
not
some,
too heavy. He can stand on ice and
Yeah,
not,
he
not
stands
fall
on
You know,
ice.
we always constantly try to remind people on the show that we don't want to get political, but unfortunately, sometimes Hollywood beats
I don't wanna
us
get
to
political.
the punch.
Well, they get us there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get us there, so
Yeah.
we have to be. So obviously, with the news releasing this past week that Georgia, was it last week? Sometime last week?
It's been in the works.
Yeah.
They've been threatening it for a while.
Okay, so it's been in the works, but so the abortion law in Georgia finally passed. The mayor signed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
in law.
Hollywood's angry, and they don't like it.
And they're upset. So obviously tons and tons of studios have decided that they are going to possibly, they haven't
well, a few of them
absolutely
have,
said
a few of
so.
them have said that they're not going to.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. So some are saying that they're done filming
They
in Georgia.
will not film in Georgia because that law is just so unethical and unfair, and they just can't stand for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what do we think about that, guys? What do y'all think about that?
You can't handle the truth.
It's science, people.
I was
It's
waiting for that.
science.
I'm angry and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Oh, where's that one?
That's up there.
Yeah.
You got to find it. Sure.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Okay.
That's Hollywood.
I love
That's
it.
Hollywood.
I love that on the week I introduced it, y'all are giving me
Yeah.
so much crap, and now you understand how much fun it is.
So yeah,
It's
that's
fun, but not to hit the button every 10 seconds.
No, I wasn't. You're hitting it about the same frequency.
No.
Yes, you
Listen.
are.
No.
Yes, you are.
Hollywood. They're just gonna pick up their ball and go home. They say we don't like it, and I say good riddance. Because you'll be back when
Yes.
your production costs go up because you don't get those tax breaks that Georgia offers.
Yep.
They're gonna come back.
See, well, and that's kind of what I think would be funny is if Georgia's like, okay, well, we'll just jack it up 5% tax credit. And it's like, if you really want to take a stance in this regard, fine, so be it. But it's going to hurt your pocketbook.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, that to me is the thing about this whole situation. I'm fine with the studios making whatever choice they want to make.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
free
it's
to do so.
stupid on their
It's
part.
their business. It's free. They're free to run it however
Yeah,
they want.
they are, but I think it's dumb because I think what you're doing is you're alienating yourself from people who actually have a certain,
Yeah.
a different type of view than you do,
Yep.
and you think that because this is somehow, because of the way it's rammed into the media
I just think it's funny
in a certain
that they
political,
said it's unethical.
right, exactly. But
Yeah.
that's the thing because it's
Hollywood
generated.
lecturing us on ethics.
Well, I know, ironic, isn't it? And because of the way it's presented in the media,
Yeah.
it's like they have to take this viewpoint because they think that they're taking the righteous path by saying, "Well, we're standing up to these people who are demanding that women not have rights."
Well, the media
The path of the
spins it
righteous
as
man is beset
women
on
are
all
being
sides.
forced to keep their children. Like, how terrible does that sound? That was literally that's one of the headlines that CNN has ran.
They're forced to
is
take
that
care of their
women are
children.
being forced
well,
to keep
and
their
here's the
children.
thing. I don't even
What
disagree.
woman should not want to keep
Well, because
their,
then they want to throw in. Look, there's tons of different.
They
I
could
don't
think
even
of
want
a
to
better
go
way to
down.
word it,
I don't
though.
even want to go down that rabbit hole
Yeah,
because
yeah.
as many arguments as there could be about, okay,
Well, they
fine,
have a- yeah.
even if you don't want to keep your child because you were raped,
It's
or
adoption.
because again, there should be other state services, and I agree.
Yeah.
I think we should be talking about that as being up for debate than actually, oh, should we kill an unborn child because, well, it's in
Yeah.
my body and I get to choose. It's like, oh, okay, so let's just murder people. Well, I mean, old
Yeah.
people get useless every day,
Yeah.
and I guess as they get older and become more and more
Handicapped
useless,
people,
why
yeah.
not get rid of them?
I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, why not?
Actually, one of the people I was driving behind, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
I did
Yeah.
have someone say,
old
"Well,
person.
there's hundreds of kids that up for adoption and they don't get adopted," and that's like, so should we just go bomb all the orphanages because they don't get adopted? It's like, well,
Well,
that-
and then again, it's like that I've heard from kids who were orphans and even kids who are in orphanages who are saying like, and people who are foster kids saying, your essential argument is that I don't matter because I don't have my birth parents, so my life is meaningless.
It is.
And it's like you're essentially making that argument. But even then, even without going down that
Yeah.
rabbit hole, the fact of the matter is, regardless of how you come down on this, I find it interesting that, again, because of the overarching narrative, that it is political, that they get involved and they have to
Yeah.
bend a certain way. It's like,
It's stupid.
why are you even making a stance in this? Why are you even coming out saying that we're not standing for what they do in Georgia? It's like nobody was even on you to do production in Georgia or
Their
getting
filming
offended
has
by
no
that.
effect by like that's the politics of Georgia has nothing to do with their production of any of these movies or shows. They just because they feel like they're the moral arbiters that have to lead the way and show America what's the right way. They now have to take this stance and say, well, we're not going to film there. We'll just go somewhere else. It's like, that's fine. It's your business. You go somewhere else.
Yeah, but they'll
And-
film in the Middle East where abortion is illegal, and where homosexuality is illegal.
What's like,
and it's like, but they're still filming there.
Sophie
Like,
Turner has come out and said that she refuses to film anywhere that has abortion restrictions, and they straight up asked her, it's like, well, you filmed Game of Thrones in Ireland, and abortion's illegal in Ireland.
Yeah.
And she said, well,
Oh,
that
I
was
didn't know that.
She goes, no,
Exactly.
She didn't say she didn't know that. She said that was in the past. She's like, that was in the past, and that was so. It's like, no, because you were a nobody when Game of Thrones started, and you weren't going to say no then.
Yeah.
But now that you feel like you're somebody, you could say, oh no. It's like,
Exactly.
no.
Yeah.
When
you actually have the platform to
Well, wait
stand
till
on
Dark
because
Phoenix
you're famous
comes
and you
out,
have
and then
lots
she'll
of
be
money.
yeah,
nobody
she's gonna be a
again.
nobody.
Well, we know that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the fact is, yes, I think the studios have every right to make this. I think it's absolutely absurd and stupid that they would have come out again. I mean, it's like anything political these days. Instead of making a stance, just shut up.
Yep.
Shut up and do what you're supposed to do. But no, everybody thinks they got to get into the PC arena, or everybody thinks they have to come out and be have some involvement in their community
Well, I don't
and
think
make a certain kind of stance to be relevant.
I
And
don't
I'm like, no, we want you to just make movies.
No, exactly.
And entertain
Yeah,
us.
I don't necessarily think that anyone even brought it to attention.
No.
It's just like, well, we got to get on top of this.
Right.
And it's
because
just-
they're worried.
it's
They're
not
worried
like-
it's going to be brought
Yeah,
to
nobody
It's
ever
not like
said-
anybody complaining like, I can't believe you filmed your movie in Georgia.
Well, see,
It's like,
okay,
I can't
but
believe
here's
you
the
bought
thing.
a ticket to see it.
Boom. Yeah. Boom. Because you know that.
Freaking
Well,
hypocrite.
but even then, I would also make the argument that I would think they, like you said, they want to get out ahead of it
Yeah.
because they're worried
Yeah.
that there's going to be
And once
somebody.
one studio does it, then they all jump on board. It was like, well, who started? Disney started it, didn't they?
Disney was the first one to
And
announce
Disney
that they
started
may not do
right,
production.
and then Netflix followed.
Right.
and then
well,
now
then
there's
there's like
other ones,
NBC
haven't there?
Universal,
Yeah.
AMC Theater,
Well,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying,
all of them.
Like AMC has only they film Walking Dead there. They always have,
yeah.
but now they're not going to. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But then when production costs start getting so high that you all don't want to do it anymore, because I mean that's part of the reason DC's Swamp Thing got canceled is they didn't get their tax break like they thought they don't film in Georgia. I forget where they filmed. But they didn't get the tax break that they thought they were going to because the money or whatever they were promised ran out. And so they're like, well, production costs are too high. We can't, keep doing it without that. So it's like, so then it's going to start affecting things like that. And it's funny because nobody who watches Walking Dead, I think nobody was like, well, I'm not going to watch Walking Dead anymore because you're filming in a state with
Well,
strict
but here's
abortion
the thing.
laws. Some people might.
They're worried
but
about that.
I don't
though.
know.
Because, and here's the thing. The reason why they're worried about that is because already, let's look at what the narrative is that's driven.
Yeah.
And the narrative that's driven is once we get down to the bottom, if nobody does anything and this abortion law passed without anybody saying anything, then immediately you do have the media who jumps on board and is like wanting to start pointing fingers because now they have to bring up another argument as to why this has to be resurfaced.
Right.
So what they'll do is they'll dig up a bunch of shit on all these other companies
I just-
and say, oh, you agree with
Yeah.
abortion because you're still
just
working
think
there.
it's
You
funny.
And it's like the narrative is driven home by these people who want to fight this or who want to make this an argument that's worth having.
Yeah.
And then they know that if they don't get out ahead of it and try to make this argument, I still consider them a bunch of assholes anyway.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a personal stance. To them, all they really have to do is come out and say they'll throw in their 2 cents if they want. But it's like, at the end of the day, you're a business that is there for one purpose
Right.
and one purpose alone. I don't expect you to let your political beliefs of whatever business you are affect
Yeah.
my purchasing or my viewing of your product.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what is pissing me off about all this is yet again politics being thrust into the entertainment industry, not because it has any place in it. Fine, go and make a damn show about it and your support for it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be this idiotic in your mindset, honestly, like you said, Keith, let them hit it where
Don't
it's
do it,
going to
because,
hurt.
yeah,
I mean,
that-
it's
it
going to
really
hurt them
is.
in their pocketbooks.
Like,
Eventually, they're going to be like, well, this is getting too expensive.
Well, it's only on one side of this spectrum, too, that people act this way. Because, like, okay, Chris Evans, for instance, I follow him on Twitter. I hate him.
Yeah.
I hate the guy. I would never want to meet Chris Evans in real life. Like, I would get in a fight with Captain America. Fist fight. And I would probably lose. But I'd
Most
be
of
okay
them.
with
Mark
it.
Ruffalo's the same way. I love
can't
Mark
stand
Ruffalo as an
him. I
actor,
can't
but
stand him.
yeah, he.
But that's not going to stop me from going and seeing his films.
Right.
The fact that I don't agree with him at all politically or religiously. Like, not at all. There's nothing about Chris Evans that I think I would sit down and be able to have a beer with the guy and talk about. Like, nothing. I just sit there quietly. But I'm going to pay to see his films because his work and what he believes personally should be two separate things.
Exactly.
And I know how to separate them.
Yep.
And that's what bothers me about this. It's like, go to Georgia, conduct your business, make your billions, employ all of these people and make them money so that their families have a roof over their head and clothes and food, and forget about your political belief and forget about whatever
pettiness at this point.
It is pettiness. And for me to sit there and read Chris Evans's tweets about our president and about everything else that he tweets about and say, well, you know what? I'm boycotting Chris Evans. I'm never going to go I'm not going to pay buy a movie ticket to see any more movies that he's in. That's just stupid. That's petty on my part.
Right.
And it's just
it's closed-mindedness.
Who's missing out? I am, because I'm missing out on some good films that he's in.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like me saying I'm not going to go see Endgame because Chris Evans is in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I've
You'll be
seen
the
it
only
3
person
times.
in the world who
right,
hasn't
exactly.
seen that movie.
And
right.
that's just stupid on my part, and I'm the one losing out, and not him. He's not losing out, and I just feel like that's exactly what these people are doing. You mentioned it earlier. There's higher ups at these companies, these corporations that are making these stupid decisions to save face in front of the public eye.
That's right.
But there's millions of employees that don't care whether they film in Georgia or not. The only thing they care about is a paycheck.
Yep.
And if their paycheck is going to be messed with because they're not getting
or
some
possibly
of these,
not even have a job.
Yeah, or not even have a job because they can't, conduct business in this state. I think that's ignorant, and I think it's very selfish, and it's just these higher ups thinking about themselves and not thinking about the millions of people they employ.
I think it's them. I think it's these corporations misunderstanding social media, misunderstanding social movements. I am all for, even the media having a certain slant that they want and telling the story they want to tell. Right. I don't care as long as you're honest about this. This is where we come from. Yeah. Fine. But what I hate is this idea, this false fake narrative that these corporations are coming out here and they have these beliefs that are somehow embedded in what America really believes.
No. They're virtuous and right.
Yeah, they're virtuous and they know what I believe and what I stand for, and so they're going to fight for the common man, and they're going to fight for us to have
73% of Americans are against abortion after the first trimester. That is a fact.
Right.
You can fact check me on that if you want to. So they're not speaking for all of us.
No.
They're not speaking for the majority of us. So that's where I don't understand where they get the idea that they are speaking for the majority.
Because I think that at the end of the day, they themselves, if they were making a smart business choice, they would just back off, and if they're confronted with it, say, look, we're an entertainment business. Yeah. This is what we do. We entertain people, and we conduct our business. Well, you're right.
They live in their own bubble. Yeah. They think, like you said. That, like,
no. They could if they had balls. If they had courage.
But
then they
not,
could.
Because they don't want to be seen as people that back down and don't. They have this
because
mindset.
They think that if they stood up to these people, that they're going to have the ability to. And that's the problem. It is that bully mentality if you don't agree with us and if you don't come alongside us and actually do the things we say, then we're going to vilify you, and we're going to beat down your doors until you do what we say, or we're going to put you out of business.
They are so narcissistic and egotistic at this point that they really believe that they are the final word on what's right and what's wrong. And here's this is what drives me crazy, is because you look at a company like Chick-fil-A that they vilify and they hate because of their viewpoint. But if you look at the way Chick-fil-A runs their business, they don't turn anybody down. They will feed a homosexual, they will feed.
They employ.
They do
homosexuals.
They don't care. They don't discriminate in how they run their business. They may believe a certain way, but they don't discriminate in how they run their business.
That's right.
And that's how I think all businesses should be. And it's your business. I mean, if it's your business, run it how you see fit. Because we're
not arguing with the right for these companies.
They have that right.
It is theirs. Yes,
but I think the smart thing is to not do it. It's like you can have your beliefs. You can make your beliefs open. That is fine. No one's arguing against that. You have that right. But at the end of the day, if you want to be smart and make the most money you can, you put certain things aside and you run your business without those biases.
With this the cake baking incident and all that stuff, like I completely agree that shop owners should have the freedom to turn those people down. But at the same time, they're making a bad business decision. It's just like, yes, I understand that's your beliefs, but you're losing the money and you're losing the customers.
Yep.
And if you're willing to do that, then
by all means do it. Be their right.
But the thing is this like, for instance, a gay couple that wants a cake baked. Mm-hmm. On their part, don't drive the shop owner into the ground. Don't ruin their name. Don't try to sue them. Go to another effing bakery.
Yes.
There are
And
plenty
take
of
your
bakeries
money
that'll do it,
to
yeah.
another bakery that will take your money and get your cake baked.
Well, at the
The
end
only
of the day,
reason
it's
they
like-
want to do it, though, at there is so that they can be that bully.
Right.
They want to pick a
Right.
fight. It's like, let's
That's the same
Well, and
thing
that's-
Hollywood's
yeah.
doing.
Yeah,
they
and
could
that's
just,
what they're. That's what I
they
was
could
getting
just
to.
say,
That's
okay,
what they're doing.
that's fine. They could not film there and go film somewhere else. That's fine if that's the decision you want to make. But now you're making it a big case.
you're making a public stink
You're
about it.
making everybody needs to pull out of Georgia. Nobody should film there. It's like no. If you don't want to film there, it's fine. You don't film there, but you shouldn't be rallying everyone else to
Yeah.
boycott Georgia because you personally don't like it.
Well, and that's the thing. At the end of the day, they're not thinking about the other millions of people that
Yeah.
are in that state,
Yeah.
whether they agree or disagree. It's like there could be hundreds of thousands of people that are employed by the production companies that are filming in Georgia. And the very fact that they may lose their jobs, whether they have any say in this or not, whether they voted for the bill or not. It's like the problem is you're affecting those people.
Yeah.
You're hurting them on the front lines. And at the end of the day, the last time I checked, production studios were not doctors. Production studios were not sitting there in the actual delivery
Are
room
you sure about that?
dictating. Well, they
Well,
could
they
be.
know-
They
they know
could
everything.
have, they could be pulling in some
think
dough
Steven
and trying to
Spielberg's
make
in
it
the- in
happen.
the
I don't
delivery
know.
Apparently, you
rooms.
haven't seen Grey's Anatomy because I'm pretty sure those are real doctors.
That's right. That's true. But it's like last time I checked, none of them are in the actual delivery room making these decisions.
Right.
It is literally it's a political game that at the end of the day, yes, fund whatever candidate you want, vote however you want, but why are you letting something like this affect how you do business that affects millions of other innocent people? And I think that's the absurdity that I have with this kind of decision making in today's culture and within our society at large. Is I feel like what we're doing is we're turning every single aspect of our life has to be run politically, and it is absolutely infuriating and exhausting.
Well, there's no humility anymore. I mean, Hollywood could be like, okay, we don't agree with that. We're going to pull out and have humility about it, but they won't. They're like I said, they're too narcissistic, and they have to beat
Yeah.
a dead horse and be like, no, we're right, you're wrong, and we're going to make sure everybody knows.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're not on board, then we're going to stomp you out of the way,
Yeah.
and we're going to completely destroy you.
Abort you.
And abort you. You're right. All right. I
let's
think
move on to the next
we've
topic.
pretty much beat that topic dead.
Beat that like a dead baby. I'm just gonna keep beating it.
You don't beat dead babies, Sean. You beat them while they're still living.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's how you really make sure it's gone, right?
If you're going to punch a baby, it needs to be alive first.
Well, I mean, if you're going
Wow.
to do it right,
Yeah.
I guess that's how you do it,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, moving on, guys, to our next topic. Well, actually, I think we're moving on to our unique weekly segment. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm good for that.
Maybe. Okay, let's
Always.
go to it. That's right, guys. It's vices.
I love that. I love that.
Oh, y'all know what our vices topic is this week?
I do.
Yes.
Maybe some people could say this is what we were doing about our topic that we just discussed, our topic of the week.
Yeah.
Thinking.
I don't
could
think
be.
so.
Yeah.
I've been thinking.
You've been thinking?
Overthinking.
It's a great
Because there's
song.
just so many scenarios.
It's a good
Well,
Mariah
okay.
K
Yes.
song.
That's
So,
like 2 weeks in a
can-
row, isn't
can
it?
That
I-
is.
can I
You-
read
you
it?
hit it.
Can
Yeah,
I read
go
it to you?
ahead, go
Okay.
ahead.
Our unique weekly segment question is: are you subject to overthinking?
Ooh.
How does it affect your judgment?
Nah, I'm definitely.
I
definitely
overthink
subject to it.
everything all
Really?
the time. All
Yeah.
the time.
See, this is where I wish, honestly, that we could have Aaron back because I'd be
Yeah.
interested in knowing if it's like a male or woman.
well, I have bad
difference too.
anxiety,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I overthink everything.
See, that's unusual though, because most people say like that women are the ones who dwell on things for a long time and like over analyze and overthink things, and men just kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Like,
Well,
we
yeah.
just move on.
But I agree with you though. I do tend to dwell on
well, like I
things
said,
or
I attribute
overthink
mine to
things.
just because I have anxiety so badly
Yeah.
sometimes that I think maybe that's part of it.
Maybe it's just us
Um,
three.
Maybe.
Maybe it's just us three
We're-
guys that are like, we're atypical.
women.
We're not. Yeah, we're really women.
Yeah.
So then,
We're
yeah.
transitioning.
We make some ugly women. I think
Yeah.
the wigs already proved that.
We've already shown that. It's true.
So about I mean, what do you all overthink about?
Everything.
Everything?
Everything.
Are there certain times
Work,
too, like
life.
during the day, or is it like for instance, it could be at night when I'm just
Well, like I
laying
said,
in bed, or
I think
you know,
if
a
when I'm
certain
tired
decision
and
making.
stressed, it's worse because
Yes.
then like that's when my anxiety's really kicking in anyways because I'm already stressed out. Usually, like I mean, if I'm chilling mellow, like I'm not thinking about anything. But then the minute like I start worrying about something, or like I said, I got a lot going on, then I'm thinking, well, did I do that right, or did I make the right choice here, or you know, I mean, it used to be worse. Like I'm a lot better at it now but I mean, back in like high school, college days, I mean, it used to be way worse. I mean, I'd be like, you know, did I offend that person? Did I do this? I mean, I overthink everything.
Sean, what about you?
Mine's as I've gotten older. Like I don't remember really worrying about a lot of stuff when I was younger, but the older I get, and with kids and
Say your
with
family.
lots of different things, I overthink a lot of stuff. Like my wife gets on me about it because even before we're talking about how we're trying not to get political and stuff, but when I see everything that's going on in the world today, like I overthink what my children are going to go through in their future. So when I see these headlines and when I hear confusion over what bathroom to use and things like, I mean, all this stuff, teachers telling kids you can be whatever sex you want. Like I overthink, like, when is my son going to come home from school and tell me that his third grade teacher told him he could be a girl if he wanted to? Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to react to that? Am I going to kill somebody? Because I probably will. And, I mean, what's I dwell on the future more than I dwell on the past. Like I really worry about the future of my kids a lot.
Yeah.
And it's really weird because
so you would say
I don't miss
definitely
out on anything
it's
right now.
Your
I don't
family
worry,
though.
Yeah,
is
but
the
I don't
primary-
worry to the point where I'm like missing out on now.
Yeah.
But I do overthink like what our country and the world in general is going to have to offer.
But is it more so? I was going to say because
for their well-being,
their perspective, from their perspective.
Yes,
it's like you're worried when you. It
But at
was
least,
more or
you
less
know,
when you got married and started a family. You
That's an
started to
admirable thing
overthink.
to worry about. See, I worry about them now. I do miss out on it because I'm always, I don't know. I mean, not like it's not as bad like as it used to be, but I mean, I'm constantly just trying to think of a really good example. I mean, because work's part of it too, or used to be, and hopefully that gets a little bit better with the way things are going. But I'm always just because I know I've done it recently, so I'm trying to think of a really really good story to tell. But what about you, Brand? What do you overthink things
all the time? All the time, and it's weird because it's like I think the biggest issue I face is if you're overthinking, but then you don't have like a way to expel it, and it's like to me. There's been times where it's like I have to, like I'll even talk to myself sometimes. Like I'll pace around and I'll just get things out of my head.
I have to
because
say
if I just keep it locked inside, it's like it's that mixture. I mean, we've had conversations on here obviously about other relationships, like about your relationship with yourself, your relationship with God.
Yeah.
And it's like I know there's times where it's like I'm getting, like I believe that's the way the devil works best. The way the devil works best is to get in your head, to fill your head with certain ideas, whether good or bad, to make you think a certain way.
Just like in the
and
garden.
so, and I feel like for me personally, I definitely have to rely on every once in a while, not just thinking through things, but processing it in a way of getting it out. And then sometimes you're like, okay, that sounds ridiculous. Like even just saying it, it sounds stupid. And then sometimes it's like I say it and I'm like, okay, it doesn't sound so bad, and maybe I'm processing it. It's just a way of processing it through your head. But I mean, it could be something from like you were talking about. Not so much back in the past, but I've always been very conscious of other people's feelings and thoughts toward me, but also just in general. Like I want to make sure that the impact I make on somebody is a gracious impact and a blessing to them rather than a curse. Like I want to make sure I really am helpful to other people. And so throughout my day, it's like if I, maybe chat with somebody in small talk and I try to rush out because I'm real busy with something and I'm like, I got to go. And then I get on the elevator or something and go upstairs at work. And then I'm like, I probably could have spent a little bit more time talking to them and not rushed through that. Or maybe how did that affect their day? Did they think I didn't want to talk to them because I didn't like them? Or did they think I didn't, and I start going through those things
that's
in
actually,
my head.
That's actually a great example because, I mean, that's, my thing is, I want to help people. I have it's kind of funny. I am selfless to a detriment almost sometimes. In that I will try do everything to help others, even if it's not good for me. And then I'll overthink about that because I'm like, man, well, what? Like if there's something going on,
Yes.
and I'm like, well, I could go help them and I could stop this from happening or save them from what's going on at work or this or that. And it's like, so then like I go and I overthink everything and end up like whatever I have going on gets put on the back burner. And I mean, and that's not good either. Because I mean, that's
well, me and Neil are trying to beat this thing on Destiny, and we need a third person. We could really use your help. So
He's
I
gonna
need you
get
to
your
put,
help.
Put everything aside so that you could help us do this. How about that?
tomorrow night.
Okay, it's a date.
You won't be overthinking that at all.
I'm not
It's
doing
done.
anything.
He doesn't have to think about it.
I'm not doing anything
I
Saturday
have an
morning.
example that's recent.
That feels good to say that.
I'm going to Washington, D.C. next week,
Yeah.
and like I have never flown by myself.
Ooh.
Ever.
Yep.
I've never.
So
flown
I've only
ever.
flown like 3 times
Yeah, I've
in
never
my life.
flown.
But
Yeah,
you've
same
never
here.
flown?
Three,
I'm
4
looking
times.
forward
So
to it.
Boston's your
Boston,
first.
yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Oh wow, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Be tripping
but
out.
I'm nervous about getting to the airport, getting to the right place. I got to fly to Chicago and then to D.C. So I'm nervous about it's only like a 2-hour layover. So I can sit there and play on my phone for 2 hours. But I'm nervous. Like I don't know how that all works. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't know. I'm overthinking to the point of losing sleep at night of like what I'm supposed to do and
Yeah.
how and
And
my wife
anxious.
keeps telling she's done it 100 times, but she keeps telling me like
You'll
you
be
can
fine.
do this, everything will be fine. You follow the signs, ask somebody or whatever. But I don't want to be that guy that's like at an airport going, "Where's my plane? I don't know where my plane. I don't know where's
my
plane?"
luggage?
It's funny though
Where's
because
my-
here you say that, but it's like you want to be that guy that's like calm, cool. I know what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
the inside you're like, I don't know what the hell's
I'm
going on.
scared.
Like,
to
what's
death.
going on? Yeah.
I'm scared to death.
Yep.
And it's like, what if I get on the wrong plane?
Yeah.
What if I? And it's like you can't get on the
They're
wrong
not
plane.
gonna let you
They
through
can't
that
get on-
gate.
What,
Yeah,
what if I walk on the plane and I just have this random urge to be like, bomb, 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 bomb? It's like, I swear I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just overthinking like everything.
Right.
And that's causing me to chew my nails more than normal and
Yes.
not sleep,
And
very good
stress.
at night because every day that I get closer to Wednesday, when I got to get on that plane, like I'm more and more nervous about it, and I'm overthinking it to the point of almost making myself sick over it.
Yes.
And it's just kind of
Yeah.
But I do that about certain things. Then other things you should probably put a little bit more thought into, and I don't. That may be another vice
That's
for another
actually-
day.
no, that's
is
a-
not
that's a
thinking about
perfect-
it enough.
That's a perfect segue because
Yeah.
I mean, like I was saying even there, where like sometimes it'll be interactions with people, and I'll walk away and there's some where I will overthink it, and then there's other times where I don't think about it at all.
Yeah.
And then yet maybe sometime when I interact with them again in the future and they react to me a certain way, I'm like, wait, did that have something to do with before and the way
Yeah.
I talked to you? And like, then it starts the process.
Yeah.
And then you get to that point because it's like,
The process.
yeah, the process. And so it's like, yeah, I don't. For me, it's almost always human interaction. It's always overthinking like my relationships with people and trying to figure out, I want to make that positive impact on people's lives, and I want to make sure that it's like I'm trying to, like you said, Keith, be a good steward, and yet at the same time, almost to my own detriment. Because then I stress about it, and then I get to the point where I am overthinking too much. But then I also don't want to become one of those people where, okay, yeah, I'll stop the overthinking. I'll kind of tamper it down for a while, and then I'll start overthinking that. And I'm like, well, now do I not care? Do I just not give a damn? And is that a problem,
I think one of the big overthinking thing is because I'm generally laid back. I don't care about like certain things. So like if someone's like going out to eat and people are like, where do you want to go out to eat? I care more about what they want to eat because I don't care.
Yes!
So I'm like, I don't care, whatever.
Yes!
And then they get mad and they're like, you're just being indecisive. It's like, I'm not being indecisive.
I really
literally-
don't care.
I don't
Yeah.
give a crap. I just want you to be happy.
Yeah,
And
exactly. It's like at that point, I'm more worried about like I want to hang out with you. Let's go get something you want if you have a preference. Exactly. But no, it is that kind of exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's that kind of thought process of, and I think it is the way it can be hurtful or harmful is because it can become, I think, overbearing for others, and I think it eventually ends up becoming, hard on the relationship that you have with others. And so I think this is all why it's like communication is key, and you communicate those things back and forth.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you do have to create that kind of time, and yet that's when you start to think, well, is the relationship worthwhile to create that kind of time to break it down? And you have to weigh that because Otherwise, it's like if you are overthinking it to that point, to that extent, then it's obviously weighing on your shoulders. And maybe that other person doesn't even know. Maybe they have no clue that it's weighing on you that much.
I know.
Well, of course, Keith, because I'm always overthinking about you.
Okay.
Oh,
overthinking.
All right,
I think that's the end of that segment.
Well,
Yeah.
but it was good. I thought that was good.
No, it was good.
It was a good vice.
It was nice.
We're running
So-
a little over time, but we
Just a
do
tad
have
bit.
we do have an email.
Yeah. Do you have it up, Sean?
I have it up. I'm
Go
just
ahead,
gonna
read it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's from Neil in Boston.
Yeah.
It's a long email.
Yeah.
We've kind of put it off last week because we
did.
ran out of time. This week we're starting
Real
to do
quick,
the same.
real quick. We actually had
So-
another email too.
What?
Another email from somebody. I'm telling you right now, they actually sent us a remix of a song they did, and we're gonna have it on next week's show as part of our intro music.
You're out of your mind.
I'm not lying.
Okay.
They're from I think it was France, Paris. I'm dead serious.
That's awesome.
Y'all did not know this either, did y'all?
No.
Yeah, because I have
you
to
don't-
approve
You
the
don't ever,
emails.
you don't ever
Share
forward the
emails.
emails.
I don't, because sometimes we get spam. But no, yeah, they
But
did.
you
They
could
sent
approve
us
the
this.
non-spam ones.
Did they send it today? Like on?
No.
the
This was about a week ago.
D-Day?
This is about a week ago.
Man.
Okay.
Oh, we
So
didn't.
they
even,
owe us one.
They All right, but I wanted to say that yes, we will have their song on that they sent it to us as part of our intro next week. It's a little crazy. It's a little
Really?
but they sent it to us. We're gonna put it on air.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I'm fine with that.
So
Absolutely.
Sean, go ahead. with
Okay,
Neil
I'm
said.
just going to scoot through this real quick. Neil emailed us. He mentioned that while his fiance was away, the boys will play, and that sounded gay.
No way.
He watched 6 movies while she was gone.
Gosh
He was
sakes.
he was getting his money's worth from his stubs.
Yeah,
so
he was.
he watched Pokemon. He says, meh. He watched Fate of the Furious, surprisingly great. Tolkien was great. John Wick 3, no. I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
And then he watched Los Angeles Beach Bums 36 XXX. What is that? Oh, I guess Megan was gone. No, actually, that's not one of them, Megan. Sorry. He watched Rim of the World and said no. That's one of Netflix's new original movies.
Does Rim of the
I
World
was
like
saying, that
fall
does
into
sound like
play
a
with
porno,
beach
too.
bums?
That didn't sound much better.
Rimming in the World is the porn version.
Yeah.
Go Google rimming. Okay, he says, don't want to make it too wordy, but actually he did. For Pokemon, he said, I agree, 2.5 stars. He liked the movie. Pikachu / Ryan Reynolds was great. Not enough to save the stupid story, so he thought the story was very lacking. John Wick is where he very much disagreed with us. So there was a lot of things that he disliked.
Okay.
Didn't agree with our rating at all. The fighting in action was 4 stars, but the story, entertainment value, after seeing the first one, was only 2. So he really went through that. But he did see Tolkien, and he said Tolkien was 3.5 out of 4 for him.
Oh, wow.
He said it was a very good movie, very dramatic, really went into the childhood of Tolkien and showed about the things that happened in his life that really led up to the writing of Lord of the Rings. I think when I talked to him, he said like at the end of the movie, it does show him starting to.
I actually have not heard great things about Tolkien.
I haven't.
Well, see,
either.
that's
Yeah.
weird. So that's coming from Neil. It's 3. I trust his judgment, so I do want to see it.
Yeah.
Rim of the World, he said I mentioned because I saw a few headlines about it, but I disagree with all of them. 2 out of 4 stars. 80s Goonies-esque film, but it didn't really do much for me. There's some funny parts, but overall lackluster. He says, that's all from me. If you guys happen to see Rim of the World or Tolkien, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So Rim of the
Tolkien,
World
we may
is
end
on
up
Netflix, so we can all watch that
yeah.
whenever. And Tolkien,
I
I
do
do
want-
want to see that.
I do want to see Tolkien because I'm a huge fan of J.R.R. Tolkien, but I've heard that it's historically lacking.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
I've heard the
Okay.
same. I've heard that it pretty much passes right over any.
Yeah, it leaves out any Christian detail.
any
Well, see, and
Christianity
I asked Neil about that because I heard the same thing. I actually heard it on Christian radio station. They were talking about reviewing the movie, and we talked about it while we were playing Destiny one night, and he was saying that it doesn't really get into because he was a pretty devout
Yeah.
Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
And he was also
a lot of that
his
influenced his
well,
writing.
yeah,
Yeah.
his faith influenced his
Well,
writing.
he was the
but
reason C.S. Lewis.
he does
started
mention though.
down
Here's the
path
thing. He
went.
does mention when we talked about it that this is him at a younger part of his life, and it was possibly before a lot of the Christian influences and stuff.
But the
began
interesting
to take
thing
hold.
is there's a lot of Christian allegory in Lord of the Rings. And so
That's
for him
true.
to sit down
That's
and
true.
start writing
It
Lord
shows
of the
him
Rings
later in
without
life,
any influence.
right? Yeah, it doesn't really go
So-
into any
his
religious
Christianity,
details.
was a big.
But yeah, I know he was.
factor
I know
for
he
Lord
was
of the Rings,
a kind of a writing partner with C.S. Lewis, and that they
Well, he-
fed off of each other. And
Well,
He,
C.S. Lewis
brought
is the
C.S.
reason
Lewis-
to Christianity.
Yeah.
And C.S. Lewis began writing a lot of his works and really diving into Christianity because
Because
of
of
his
Tolkien.
relationship with
Yeah.
Tolkien.
Yeah,
So for the fact that they didn't really
They didn't
hit on
go
that,
into
it's
it,
just like
Lewis was.
he said they do show like them meeting at a bar or a
they
restaurant
actually
or
show him
some-
with Lewis?
something like that. Like they
They used to meet at a bar all the time.
Yeah, well, he got together with like a group.
it's called Inklings.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
got
was the
together
name
with the
of
group.
it.
It
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
that,
Mhm.
but it
That's cool.
doesn't like dive into C.S. Lewis at all.
Okay.
So, but like I said,
That's
I
okay,
trust
Brandon.
I trust Neil's judgment.
that movie will come one day.
No, I was
Yeah.
gonna say my sister has an idea to write a movie about C.S. Lewis and Tolkien's relationship, and she wants to call it Inklings.
Yeah.
And she
Okay.
wants to write a script.
Don't give
for
it
I was
away.
like, hey, come
'cause
on.
Now someone's
Yeah.
gonna steal that idea.
Probably, I know.
You just-
Probably now.
spout it out.
It's copyrighted though. You can't do it.
Yeah, it's not anymore.
It would be a good story. Yeah, but Lewis used to be agnostic. I mean, he didn't believe in or
Yeah.
atheist, I guess, because
Yeah.
he didn't believe in God. And
Well,
it was
a lot of
Tolkien
the
that,
a lot of the best and most
yeah.
theological Christians
Yeah,
were
were.
atheists.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
okay, but that's the email from Neil. If you want
As
to read it
always.
in full, read it in full, and we can talk about it another time
I
because there's a
will
lot
read-
there.
Well, I can't read it in full because somebody hasn't.
Somebody
released
hasn't
it in the
unlocked
email.
it. He's got it on lockdown. I swear. He's
Neil,
like,
don't-
I'm
he's-
overthinking
You're
it. I
YouTube.
can't help it.
You're just like YouTube.
I
You're
know.
censoring everything.
Censor it. Just from now on, Neil, you just have to email all of us.
Email us directly.
Well,
personally.
you could because you could email us at bdavidson@redmoonproductions.com, S Sebastian, or K Cheatham. All of those will work.
Cheatham.
But if you do want to email the podcast,
That's true.
right here in the bottom of your screen,
The
RMPodcast at redmoonproductions.com.
Where?
Oh, Keith, it's on you right now.
There?
Yeah,
Where?
right there.
There?
Right
Here?
there.
There?
RMPodcast at redmoonproductions.com.
Take a look.
Oh, yeah,
You're
that looks
touching
good.
it. Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh. What about you, Sean?
Sean?
Is it right here?
It's right there.
Ding 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 ding.
Right
no,
there.
wait, it's
Now,
supposed
now
to
I'm
go this
switching to
way.
the. Oh no.
There we go.
Now it looks like you're just pointing in the air because
What is it now? Social media?
No.
Well, you need to
I-
check
we
out our
already-
social media.
It's already. I already put that up throughout the whole time.
dang
So
it.
it's
You need
time
to
for
tell
us
us
to
this stuff.
wrap.
Wrap.
We're done, guys.
Game over.
It's another great episode. Thank you for joining us here on the Red Moon Podcast. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Keith Cheatham.
we'll see you at the. I screw it up every week. I'm sorry, guys.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.